Indochino is North America's leading made-to-measure menswear company. They make suits and shirts to your exact measurements for an unparalleled fit and comfort. Guys love the option to personalize the details, including the lapel, lining, pockets, buttons, even writing your own monogram. Here's how it works. Visit a stylist at their showroom, have them take your measurements personally or measure at home yourself, and shop online at Indochino.com. Choose your design customizations, fabric, submit your measurements with your choices, and relax while your suit gets professionally tailored and mailed to you in a couple of weeks. Just watch as the compliments roll in. And November's Black Friday season, so 2018's lowest prices up to 70% off everything. This week, my listeners can get Black Friday pricing by using code ATH at checkout. 70% off regular price, plus shipping is free. That's Indochino.com, promo code ATH for up to 70% off. An incredible deal for a made-to-measure suit. Once you go custom, you don't go rack. Indochino.com, promo code ATH.
My name is Lauren. I'm 33. I didn't want my identity to be the smoking mom. My first experience with Juul, I do remember being like, this is good. It's like a cigarette, but not. I don't miss smoking at all. Like, I can officially say it grosses me out.
Juul is the tobacco alternative that delivers nicotine satisfaction without cigarette ash or lingering odor. Make the switch at JUUL.com/sports.
Warning, this product contains nicotine. Nicotine is an addictive chemical.
Hey, Kevin, have you and Draymond been able to hash anything out?
No.
Having said that, what's next for the Warriors? Also, the referee who forgot the coin for the coin toss did rock, paper, scissors, and is now a ref no more. Frank, Clinton, Jay, Timmy, rock, paper, scissors me. Timmy, let's get it. 1, 2, 3, shoot. Oh, you waited for after he threw it. You were too late. You waited.
I was the king of that for years.
Jonas Jerebko, 14-13, a plus 23, stepping in for the suspended Draymond Green last night. Kevin Durant had 29, had that very direct answer that they had hashed nothing out before the game, and he's Steve Kerr.
Nobody ever talks about Kevin's free agency. Doesn't bother anyone.
Lip readers, do you question what Durant was saying there 2 nights ago? All that is in there. So is the press conference Bob Myers had to announce that Draymond was suspended. A lot of meaning, double meaning, hidden meaning here. There is a whole lot to get to here, J.A. Adonde. Around the horn first to you. Do you agree with the Green suspension and how the Warriors played this?
It'll only look good if Kevin Durant signs in the offseason. Clearly, it was geared toward that, toward staying on his good side for the organization. But it really, if you look through recent years of recent suspensions over the past few years, imposed by the team, you don't see this type of suspension. It's generally if a player goes at a coach or if he clearly violates a team rule like missing a practice or missing a plane. Only time is player versus player if it's an actual physical altercation like Bobby Portis with the Bulls last year. But a player getting into it with another player resulting in a suspension is really unprecedented. And the fact that they put out the press release about it, that Bob Myers addressed the media, clearly they knew this was something out of the norm, and they had to be addressed. And they knew, in
your opinion, it was something Durant needed to hear. That's what you say you're doing.
Clearly, this was aimed
at Kevin Durant. Clinton, you seem befuddled. Please, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, look, unprecedented is not congruent with necessary, in my opinion, in this situation. Mm-hmm. It's not necessarily because of Durant. It's because of what happened. I mean, he made a scene on the bench and in the locker room. And look, overall, he's the one, in my opinion, that botched that play. When you're coming down to it at the end of the game, give it to the best scorer in the league instead of, running down the court and potentially turning the ball over. And overall, I mean, I just don't understand why everybody is so surprised that this happened. Last time I checked, Kevin Durant was the 2-time Finals MVP.
Okay.
This dude at this stage of the team is more important than Draymond Green is for my money. I'm not saying Draymond's importance to the franchise isn't a bigger deal, but when it comes to the value on the court, KD matters more.
Frank Isola, how do you see it?
Yeah, Clinton conveniently forgets that they won before Kevin Durant arrived. And if you're Draymond Green, you're a pretty accomplished player. You're dribbling down the court. The last thing you need is a player standing behind you, clapping at you as if you're a rookie. And that's what got Draymond Green ticked off. And I think all this stuff boiled over, all this stuff about free agency, and Jay is 100% right. This is all about protecting Kevin Durant at the expense of Draymond Green, who gets upset over a travel call in the first quarter of a game. How do you think he took it when they told him, hey, by the way, we're going to publicly embarrass you, we're going to suspend you, and we're going to take away $120,000 of the money that you have coming to you? This could not have gone over well.
TC?
First of all, I think Kevin Durant was letting him know there's a pretty good 30-foot shooter over here who's open. If you want to throw me the ball, you want to go ahead and win this game. But here's what I think. This is the organization telling us we don't really know how to control or rein in Draymond Green, and a lot of times we don't want to. We like him being the way he is, but we don't have anybody who can go up and say anything to him, so we're going to suspend him. He's going to hate it. It's going to be a huge story, even though it's a regular season game with the Hawks, and we'll just take the fallout from that because, you saw in the game DeMarcus Cousins talking to him, trying to calm him down a little, but DeMarcus Cousins hasn't played his first minute for the Warriors. He can't really do it. I think this is all, they felt like this was their only option.
Just the mere mention that you're invoking DeMarcus Cousins as the cooler heads will prevail tells you enough about this scenario. Jay, you want back in. Please go ahead.
Yeah, well, you also have to look at the effect it's going to have on Draymond Green. So eventually it'll be time for him to decide whether or not he wants to remain with the Warrior, and can he get past this? So this is not just a dispute in the locker room. This is something now the organization coming out against him and taking the side of another team.
My wonder is, though, we haven't seen this from other organizations. This is the organization that's supposedly light years ahead, Clinton Yates.
Right, which is why I'm not too worried about this. This was Kerr's decision. Maybe, just maybe, it'll work.
Mm-hmm. All right, let me ask you about it from the Durant perspective, because what we heard, we played it at the start of the show in our tease, the very direct and terse answer to have they hashed things out. He said no. Then he went on to, say and extrapolate that they will because they're a team and this is a long season. But Frank Isola, how did Durant come off to you?
Well, he could have ended it or at least made a couple of steps toward ending it by saying, you know what, Draymond and I are okay. I'm glad that he's honest about it, but remember something about Kevin Durant, how sensitive he is. This is a guy that used a fake Twitter account to go after anonymous people on Twitter that were critical of him. Now you have an actual teammate getting into it with him, and there were some derogatory things said. How can this not impact Kevin Durant's future? And I understand it's far away. It's going to have an impact, though.
I think it will have an impact. I was fine with what he said. I think it's better than giving a dishonest answer. Mm-hmm. He said, no, we haven't fixed it. He did go on to say Draymond was here before me and he's done a lot of things. He gave him his props there, but he made it clear that this hasn't been resolved. Probably won't be for a while.
Clinton, how did you hear that big fat no from Durant?
Yeah, what did you want him to say? Did you want him to be petty and start dissing Draymond furthermore? He just came out with what he had to say. I think Kevin Durant speaks like a guy who has nothing to prove on this team because that is actually the case.
Jay. But Clinton, what's most noticeable is what he did not say. He did not say, I feel like this organization has my back after they took that dramatic step to him. And people want to talk about, it's just like Kobe and Shaq. They were able to coexist for a long time. Well, guess what? The year it didn't work out, the year they didn't win the finals together was the year that Kobe had the option to opt out of his contract. That's when it all fell apart. They lost to Detroit in the finals and then the team was blown up. Kevin Durant can opt out this offseason.
I guess in the end, I want to focus, though, on the organization here, all right? Because, again, I go back to this. Light years ahead. Playing this out in public view, does this do more damage to this Warriors organization, or is it something that they can maybe pivot from? Jay, you want to start off?
I think it's good that they at least acknowledged it. And the fact that it took one play at the end of one game in November to bring all this stuff out into the light shows you just how serious it was, and it was looming just beneath the surface. But I think that by being so public with it, at least they're trying to get ahead of it. So I'll give them credit for that.
Yeah, there's a lot of heat on this stove, but everything is cooking correctly. I think all the decisions that happened here made sense, even if a lot of them went on. I have no issues with this, and I like the fact that it all happened, in the course of one night.
Isola?
By the way, Clinton, they proved something before Durant arrived, that they could win without him. Here's my thing. If you look at the faces of Steve, they won 1 out of 2. Here's the thing. If you look at the faces of both Steve Kerr and Bob Myers, you can tell that they know this is a major crisis on their hands. The biggest crisis they've faced since Draymond Green was suspended for Game 5 back in 2016. That cost them a championship. You wonder what this is going to cost them since Draymond Green was the one recruiting Kevin Durant to Golden State.
The show after the horn.
I think winning like only they can win will resolve a lot of this and put it behind him. But as Frank said earlier, that won't change how Kevin Durant feels about his future and whether he wants to stay with this team. That's going to linger. That's going to be there.
We've been horned. We'll move on. Sixers Magic. Let's talk about the Jimmy Butler debut and how he meshes with Joel Embiid and Ben Simmons and how he devours Markelle Fultz and whether Jimmy Butler will be happy this time, according to Bob Ford in Philadelphia. Frank, how do you see this playing out, and is Jimmy's happiness really how this should be measured?
Oh, it's keeping me up at night worrying about whether or not Jimmy Butler's going to be happy. He wasn't happy in Chicago. He wasn't happy in Minneapolis. And now he's joining a team with two young, high-profile teammates. It's going to be up to him to make it work. And guess what, though? At the end of the rainbow, there's a pot of gold. If he plays well, stays on his best behavior, they're going to pay him. And ultimately, that was the issue in Minnesota, and that's what will be the solution in Philadelphia.
Yeah, and in Minnesota, he exercised the nuclear option. So unless he's going to do that again in Philadelphia, I don't think you're going to see him bring the same problems to the table. But again, one of the people he popped off at in Minnesota was GM Scott Layden. He ain't doing that to Elton Brand. You saw that picture of those two standing right next to each other. That's going to be a problem if he starts yelling.
Did you say unless he hits the nuclear option again? How many times do you get to hit the nuclear option before it actually is something that you can't recover from? Jay Adande, how about you?
Exactly. You only get one of those per season. I think that's a fair amount, at least under the salary cap in the NBA CBA. But exactly. Because of that, though, because he went to such extremes in Minnesota, and you could get away with it there because people might look at the owner, Glenn Taylor. People might look at Tom Thibodeau and put the blame on them. But he's going into a situation that was pretty successful last year, hasn't been off to a great start, but they have something in place. It's enhanced by his presence there. So if he messes it up, then that's on him. Nobody's going to look at anyone else at Jimmy Butler. So I think that will force him to fall in line, and it certainly will keep him quiet.
There are certain star players who bring it upon themselves to where all we do talk about is their body language and whether or not they're happy. We've spent about 16 years discussing whether Carmelo is happy in Denver or happy in New York or happy in Oklahoma City. We never really got around to it in Houston. We didn't have time. But, I think the way this happened, Jimmy Butler's going to be happy for a year. Then when he gets paid, what happens? That's
how happy are Sixers fans going to be, Frank Isola? I mean, now the idea that they have their big three, and this could vault them into the top two in the Eastern Conference. Do you believe that?
Yeah, maybe a big four if Durant goes there next year. I think with Jimmy Butler, now you have a guy in the fourth quarter of games. If you go back to last season, and when they made the second round, they didn't have anybody that wanted to shoot the ball, including Ben Simmons. Now at least you have a guy with that playoff experience. No question about it. The Philadelphia 76ers got better, and I think they're going to get better because they're going to add a shooter, maybe somebody like Kyle Korver.
Glenn Yates?
Yeah, I don't necessarily think their expectations go up, but I do think the team has gotten a little better. However, that Fultz problem brings them back a little bit in terms of what overall you feel good as a Sixers fan overall. But J.D. Redick starting for him, I think that's a nice little touch. He's a veteran that I enjoy a lot in terms of what he brings from a leadership standpoint. But I still think
the Fultz problem is less of a problem because he takes a step back now. Jimmy Butler can fill that role and fill it very well. You added an all-star team. You added a closer for late-game situations. So there's certainly a bigger threat. Do I put them to the top of the Eastern Conference? Not quite yet.
Kalisha.
Other than LeBron, if this had happened on July 1st, Philadelphia would have been the talk of the offseason and the favorites in the East had this move happened in the summer.
But what does that mean? Having seen Toronto come to form like they did, you're not putting them ahead of the Raptors?
Yeah. I'd say now they're one of the big three for the best in the East.
They were one of the big.
Frank Isola trying to make some news there? Kevin Durant to Philadelphia? Is that something you legitimately think could happen, Ken? Frank?
Let's throw it out there.
You're just throwing it out there. Okay, it's been out there.
It's a possibility.
Remember, do not clap behind Frank Isola when he's talking. He doesn't like that. Fire cells on the other side. Stick around.
Around the Horn is brought to you by Domino's. Order online and track your order.
My name is Lauren. I'm 33. I didn't want my identity to be the smoking mom. My first experience with Juul, I do remember being like, this is good. It's like a cigarette, but not. I don't miss smoking at all. Like, I can officially say it grosses me out.
Juul is the tobacco alternative that delivers nicotine satisfaction without cigarette ash or lingering odor. Make the switch at JUUL.com/sports.
Warning, this product contains nicotine. Nicotine is an addictive chemical.
Welcome back to Around the Horn, coming to you from the Heineken River Deck at Pier 17.
You can never be sure of the algorithm the viewers at home are scoring you guys are at, but right now, this is what I have. Kalisha 10, Adande 12, Yates 10, Isola 11. It's buy or sell, and it's the last Le'Veon Bell story we will do this year. Huzzah! It's over. No season for him.
Hey.
Steelers move on with James Conner, first in the conference in rushing. Bell moves on and hopes to come back next year? Question mark. Recoup the monies not earned this year? Question mark. And more? Question mark. Tim, where does Bell go from here?
I think you can have a lot of fun saying what would he look like next year in a Philadelphia Eagles uniform, a Minnesota uniform. How much is he worth to those teams? But the thing that's hurt him as much as losing the money, James Conner having that kind of success, none of us thought James Conner was a top 10 back when the season began. The whole thing has so much to do with your offensive line, the coordinator, everything else. It's a reminder to people, just getting the back doesn't fix all your running problems.
So in the end, then, you would say this entire ordeal has been a negative for him?
Absolutely.
Adane, how about you?
No, I'm looking at the long-term picture, and I think this will turn out to be a positive. Why? Because he's had a year off from playing football. I believe the worst thing football players can do is actually play football. But look at Adrian Peterson right now.
What is that? Wait, hold on a second. What does that even mean? What are you trying to say here, Adane?
Playing football is dangerous for your body. It's counterproductive, actually. Adrian Peterson only had 21 carries in 2014.
The inherent
he was suspended that year.
Healthy.
Now and guess what? Le'Veon Bell had 0 risk this year. He was not at risk.
All right. We're going to go to Clint Yates.
Actually, in football, and specifically with the running back position, I think the rust versus rest argument is very different than people give it to you. You got to be playing football in order for people to remember who you are. See James Conner. The other thing is this: it might work out long term for what running backs actually deserve proportionally to the rest of offenses for money wise, but for Le'Veon Bell specifically, it will not. He passed up too much money, and I don't think he's going to be worth that much to any other franchise.
Frank Isola.
Man, I give him credit for this, though. He's betting on himself that he can get a better deal as opposed to holding a franchise hostage, not playing and still getting paid. I'll say this about the Steelers. I always felt Ben Roethlisberger, Brown, and also Bell, they had the best combination. Quarterback, running back, wide receiver, they don't have that anymore.
Jay Adane, are you questioning your decision now to make the argument that you did? Or
no, I'm questioning you
I'm just saying,
not recognizing this infallible logic.
The worst thing a competitive banter can do is compete with banter, I guess, is what we just heard. We'll move on. Buy or sell two. The Rams went from 2.5-point favorites to 3.5-point favorites once the NFL moved the game to Los Angeles. Buy or sell, Jay?
I'm buying the Rams being the beneficiary of this or playing at home. I'm also buying the fact that the first responders in the Los Angeles area who've been battling this fire will be able to see the Rams at home because the team is providing free tickets for a lot of the emergency workers.
Yeah, I'm buying this being a very bad job by the league in terms of what they did here. This is kind of awkward. It's like all of a sudden the field conditions matter when before the sky conditions didn't matter, and you're moving teams between all sorts of different places. I'm not going to say it's going to knock the luster off of probably the best.
So you think the league did a bad job here in thinking about player safety with the turf?
How do you not know that the field is going to be in that condition if you planned a game there? You're screwing all these people that were...
I do agree with you, though, about the air quality index that we saw in the Monday night game, or we could even see in this game next Monday night. Frank Isola, how about you?
I think what Clint is trying to say is that when the U.S. men's national team is going to play a qualifier against Mexico, get the game moved out of Mexico and blame it on the field. How can the NFL, with all the people that bought ticket packages to go to this game, move it? You know what this is about. It's a marquee game. They'd rather have it in L.A., and the Rams would rather have it in L.A. I can't believe they're getting away with this one. Can't believe it.
Tim Kalishaw, hearing Frank say that, you say what?
I think the league needs to rethink some of the things it does to try to, move its product internationally. There have been problems with that field before, obviously not at this level. As far as moving it, I don't think it benefits anybody. With all these tickets available, there'll be 30,000 Chiefs fans there Sunday. They'll be fine.
So the change of venue doesn't really affect the competitive nature of the game, in your opinion.
Paid already,
but thumbs up or thumbs down here on Isola, because that's a full-blown conspiracy theory from Isola, who's certainly not above that on this show. But the idea...
Clinton?
Okay, Kalishaw, you're believing it. Adane and Yates, not so much. We'll move on.
Clinton,
you can't win.
Let me down.
Anyway.
Buy or sell 3, MLB Manager of the Year. Braves manager, anyone? Brian Snitker. We do this every time his name comes. Nobody ever knows his name. Brian Snitker. NL Manager of the Year. And in the AL, Bob Melvin of the A's beat out 108-win Alex Cora. And Kevin Cash finished third from Tampa, so he gets the start out of the bullpen. Clinton, did baseball writers get this one right?
I mean, sure, but you know what doesn't matter to me or to Alex Cora? Any of this. Because when he was in L.A. holding the Commissioner's Trophy, you know what he talked about after the game? Steve Pearce, David Price, and the fact that the Stros let him walk and go to an organization like the Red Sox because, hello, he's the champion.
Frank Isola?
The AL Manager of the Year.
I am shocked that the baseball writers just didn't give it to Shohei Ohtani, since he doesn't have to play to get Rookie of the Year. He doesn't have to manage. Just give him manager.
The man from New York. Oh.
Melvin was the right choice.
Thanks for answering the question after you got your shot in there. Kalisha, how about you?
They got it right. Sometimes, they give it to a manager who takes a bad team and gets them to 84, 85 wins. Melvin got the A's to 97 wins.
Playoffs.
Started the year with the lowest payroll. Absolutely deserving.
Yeah, but Alex Cora got a 93-win team and managed to find an extra 15 wins, which is, I think, even more impressive than finding 22 wins from a 77-win team. There's a whole lot of room for improvement with a 77-win team. How do you find 15 extra wins from a 93-win team?
A whole lot of room for improvement with that score, too, Jay. Although I agree with your point. But a whole lot of room for improvement, and it's proof, once again, that competitive banterers
we'll come back
should
tomorrow.
Not compete with banter. And I get it. You want Yankees to win every award. That's wonderful. Good for you guys. Kalisha Yates. Next showdown will be, I think it's the first matchup between these two in this new reality here. And I'm really excited to hear what we're getting for FaceTime. So we'll see what's at on the other side. Showdown next.
I can't believe it.
That Philip brought his little brother on our mission into orbit.
How long until we get there? How long until we get there? How long until we get there?
No, I can't believe how easy it was to save hundreds of dollars on my car insurance with Geico.
What's this button do? What's this button do? What's this button do? What's this button do?
Don't touch that. Believe it, Geico could save you 15% or more on car insurance.
Around the Horn is brought to you by Modelo Especial, brewed with a fighting spirit since 1925.
Showdown Especial. It is Kalisha and Yates. And also for the reward of your viewing pleasure, second screen viewing, let's see who's got the viewers' vote. We'll check it out. Showdown 1, Islanders Canucks. Tom Knuckel's goal last night. Credit to Knuckel or blame to Jacob Markstrom for not making the save, Tim?
Credit to Knuckel. You look at it at first, you're saying, get that stick down. But you're not expecting a shot from the ice, from that angle. Great shot. Good goal.
He should be expecting a shot because we've seen that before from one of the greatest players of this generation, Alexander Ovechkin. He did it in his rookie year, and it was glorious then, and I like the second element now.
But you're just trying to make this about Washington, aren't you? Clinton.
Always, Tone.
Point, Tim Kalisha. Showdown 2, the ref who forgot the coin for the coin toss. Had the players do rock, paper, scissors. This was in October for Man City and Reading in the Women's Super League. That ref has been suspended 21 days. Clinton, can you make heads or tails out of this for us?
This is an outrageous reaction from the FA for a couple different reasons. Number one, it should be rock, paper, scissors anyway to figure this out because it's a competition. Let them do that first. And secondarily, how resourceful is this guy? Forgot the
rock, paper, scissors. It's good to know it's universal. Nobody won it more than I did in the early days of this show.
You ready to put it on the line?
Know that. Right now, let's go.
All right, ready? Kalisha Yates, rock, paper, scissors, shoot. Let's see. Who do we got here?
Oh, well, whoa,
slow play from Yates
what are we doing
there.
Here?
I saw what you did, Yates. I knew this was going to happen with one of you clowns. Tim Kalisha, take the FaceTime.
My first win in augmented reality. Thank you for the confetti. Don't want to rain on Central Florida's parade. Great story. Undefeated last year, undefeated this year. Game day's going there, but they're still 11th in the college football rankings. Let's acknowledge, as long as it's just a 4-team tournament, that's going to be a few more years. They're never going to make it. We need to have some sort of non-Power 5 Super Bowl. Have them play for some game that would get some attention for that. Otherwise, they're just swimming upstream. They're not going to make the top four.
Whoa. Swimming upstream. I think you're going to be swimming upstream for the rest of your time on this year's show. That's it for Kalisha. He's done here. We're going to see you guys 23.5-hour break.
Nothing wrong with upstream.
I think smoking always affected my daily life because I was a closet smoker. It really sort of controlled my entire day. My boss is the one that recommended Juul, so I decided to give it a try. You don't get any of the odor of smoking. There's no ash all over your car. I would say give it a try.
Get the flavor and satisfaction of smoking without the mess of cigarette ash or lingering odor. Switch to Juul. Check out JUUL.com/sports. If you don't smoke or vape, don't start.
Warning, this product contains nicotine. Nicotine is an addictive chemical.